Separate things should just sit out. Okay. It's not replacing anything. No, they're doing it. They're in the house.
Ready, Jen?
All set? Okay. I'd like to call to order the meeting for the Board of Directors meeting and open it to public comment.
And if not, I'll move in.
Any public comment?
You want to just read them off the list?
There's,
I put it back.
yeah, there's,
I think people just signed in then.
okay, perfect.
Where you going to comment?
I had a conversation today, and we might have a result.
Okay, so we're good? So no public comment? Wow, I like that. Can we verify that meeting is properly been noted, has been properly noticed?
Yes.
We verify a quorum.
Yes.
Stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I don't know. Approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting on May 25th, 2016?
So move.
Second.
Jack and Eric? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Committee reports. ARC?
Good evening.
Susan.
Good evening.
The ARC committee update for this past month. In May, 128 applications were processed, with only 9 declined. That's the highest number submitted in a year. So people are busy out there, and so is the ARC committee. So staff, by the way. Top requests were painting, landscape, fence, and structural changes. Also, ARC finalized and approved the fence and wall design guideline, which you see tonight as an action item. Also, at this June meeting, there was a discussion regarding shrubs that extend along driveways when it goes all the way out to a pedestrian sidewalk. For instance, if there's a front-loaded driveway that comes out to a sidewalk and there's tall shrubs there, sometimes that kind of impedes the visibility of pedestrians coming down. So the ARC kind of looked at that and tried to come up with a guideline on how to maintain those shrubs so people can see cars reversing out of driveways. And it was decided that 42 inches is it was considered like a living fence. So it was determined that in the instance of the lot that the shrubs would be maintained like a living fence, so they would adhere to the height setback and the front facade setback. And then we're still open one position on the ARC committee, so if anyone out there is interested, please reach me at Town Hall and we'd love to have you. That's all I have for ARC this month.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions for regarding ARC? Would you like to move on to covenants?
Sure. 213 new properties were inspected in the month of May, with 114 re-inspections. That's a total of 327. That number was down. We had some staff challenges and some rain as well. Actually, we had one of our inspectors in the hospital for quite a while. So, in addition, at Celebration Village had third inspections for remaining open items. East Village had first inspections that were begun, and South Village had their continuing second inspections. At the June Covenants Committee, out of the 9 properties where the fines were proposed at the board meeting, only 3 properties actually had fines imposed. The Covenants Committee likes to take the opportunity at the monthly meeting to remind residents of the covenants, and this month's topic is leasing. We've actually received a few emails here and there where residents have reported some advertising on the different websites for short-term leasing. And of course, summertime is a popular time because people want to go to Disney and it's, vacation. So per the charter, Chapter 7.1B, leasing, all leases shall be for an initial term of no less than 1 year. No single rooms or other fraction or portion of a unit constituting less than the entire unit or garage apartment may be leased. There's no bed and breakfast establishments or accommodation for transient tenants. Also, it's good to note that advertising alone can accrue a $100 fine per day when the ad's up. And if a short-term leasing is discovered, a $1,000 fine can be imposed for not submitting a copy of the lease.
Gets expensive, doesn't it?
Yes.
Any questions for Susanna regarding covenants?
Do we also report that to the county as far as the bed tax?
I haven't so far. I can,
Might as well
though.
get it all,
It's
get
definitely
one.
something to do.
Yeah.
They certainly would be interested to know that the residents are making money as a business.
Won't they also
We have in the
pursue that
past.
themselves too?
Pardon me?
I said they'll pursue that themselves, won't they?
Yeah. Yes, we have done it. We have done it in the past when we actually found that they were still leasing. When the ad goes up, a lot of times we send the letter out and they'll take it down. So at that point, we don't contact the county. But if we discover someone's actually doing it and it's continuing to take place, then we'll contact the county.
Cool.
I wonder if we worked in conjunction with the county, maybe we could put a kibosh on it a little bit easier.
Yep.
Maybe I can, even part of my objective number 1, I can reach out to them and see if there's any way maybe we can work together on trying to get that done.
That'd be great.
Okay.
All right,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you, Susanna. Parks and Recreation?
Yes, but come up and.
Said, do you want to do the parks part? You do the parks, he'll do recreation.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Tag
Come on up and do the recreation, and then I'll talk about parks and Speaking
You get
sign
the fun
language.
part.
Is there a lot of bad news in here?
We planned this before the meeting.
A couple things real quick here. July 4th event is set for July 4th. Parade kicks off at 9 a.m. from Town Hall. The downtown entertainment starts at 4. Quick rundown is Celebration resident James Pippin will be performing at 5 on the stage, community chorus at 6, and our headliner Mac McAnally at 7:30, followed by the fireworks at 9:15. Our July food truck, it will be held on the 8th. It's also our community service night where we recognize our first responders. So we have members of the Sheriff's Office and Fire and EMS also coming in attendance. We are doing another resident movie night on Thursday, July 21st at 8:30. We'll be showing Zootopia over in the Great Lawn as long as the weather cooperates this time. And just to give a recap from the Shark Swimathon for Special Olympics that was held the day after the last board meeting. The Swimathon raised a total of $1,805.64 for Special Olympics.
Nice.
I've had a few residents ask me about traffic in and out of their parking lots downtown on the, I recall in that notice you sent out, there was a shutting off of some of the downtown streets during part of the 4th.
Right, but the town center lots are open. It's the same
Oh.
road closures that happened for,
The snow property then, basically.
right, it's the same
Okay.
for Oktoberfest now snowing. It's the same type of road closures,
Oh.
but the.
They read that differently, and so did I when I initially
All
saw
the,
it.
all the parking lots will be accessible.
Got it, thank you.
Any questions with regards to recreation?
Yep.
Thank you, JR.
I'll talk about the parks during my management, I think.
Okay, so we're just going to postpone that whole thing? All right. Financial reports, Susan?
Okay. As of May 31st, we had $2.4 million in operating cash. Accounts receivable was $461,000, which is a decrease over April of $15,878. And this is primarily due to people paying their assessments. As of May 31st, we had 20 properties in bankruptcy. 20 properties in foreclosure, mortgage and HOA foreclosure. We had 9 claim of liens, and we sent out 233 intent to liens. And there were, the rest of the accounts were current or owed less than $100. Income for the month of May was $365,000, and it came in over budget by $4,900. It's primarily due to a bad debt adjustment, which we make every month, and $39,000 in fines that were converted to specific assessments, as well as late charges and interest added to accounts. Working capital income for May was $33,722, which was over budget by $6,300, and expenses totaled $306,516, which came in under budget by $50,000. All the categories were under budget except operational and trash removal expenses, and if you look at your variance report, the details will be on that. For reserves, we had $3.3 million in reserves, and working capital year-to-date, we've collected $361,000. You have any questions?
Yes, Susan, what is the total for the working capital fund?
What is the total? It's $1.5 million.
Okay.
Cool.
And we're growing like $70,000 a month now?
36,000, 37,000, was that what it was this month? 33,722 this month, so.
I thought last
Combine
month was a
all
lot
three.
more.
When you combine all 3 of the funding sources, it is around 7,000.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes.
So we're in good shape to start building up dog park and start building the civic quarter.
Yes.
Yep.
We are right along what we had forecasted for 2016.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I would also like to thank Leonard. He went down to the Osceola County Property Appraiser's office, and he changed our,
This tax status of the properties up on the civic corridor.
saving us $40,000.
I love that. It's
So
awesome.
thank
Thank
you,
you,
Leonard.
Leonard. That's
Good job.
phenomenal.
It's amazing.
One of my questions on this, and I brought up the other day, and I don't know if you want to mention who it is, but we have an apartment complex that owes us $113,000, 90 days overdue. What are we doing to collect it?
Well, we've sent them a reminder notice. They actually contacted Melissa last week, and she has called them and left them a message. So one of the challenges that they had is they were working, their budget had $93,000 for apartment rec fees, and in 2016, the apartment rec fees increased a little bit, so they didn't budget. So they're under budget by, let's say, $15,000.
So send us the $93,000
That's
and
exactly
figure out how to
right.
get the rest
and
to
let's
us.
get on a payment plan for the rest. I agree 100% with you. So, and that's what back in May we had suggested to them, that pay us what you have allocated and let's get on a payment plan.
I'm actually a little puzzled as to why they wouldn't have thought of that themselves, but so it seems a little convenient to me.
Out of sight, out of mind, I think.
Are we imposing late fees on them
Yes,
for this?
interest.
And we
Interest.
So
charge,
late fees in the initial month, which would have been January, and then interest every month thereafter.
and we charge what in interest?
18%.
I'll let them wait alone.
A lot of interest.
It'll be a request.
No, you never want
We
to
just
let
don't
it
want
get
them
too
coming
big.
back and
Yeah.
asking
But-
for us to waive them.
Right.
That's the check.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Nay, nay, Fluffy.
Any other questions with regards to financials? Do you want to go into management report now?
Yes. The complete management report is in your packet, but I'll hit on some of the big items tonight. So we typically have our Comcast update at our monthly meeting, and our update for this month, we met with Comcast. I've met with Comcast on 2 different occasions over the last month. The first one was to discuss the marketing and communication of the overlay throughout the community. And it was agreed at that time that once the construction plans, the complete written construction plan and specs were completed, that, and they were approved by the CCDD for the easement, that they would then be communicated through a nice illustrative map that kind of shows the community. This is our map. Everybody's used to this map, so we'll show it by phases. So we will build the website to have this map up. Phase 1 will be Spring Lake, and it'll also be North Village. Starting at North Village because there is a main fiber line coming in that direction, so it just makes the most sense to start from there and then to work their way back.
It's the same way that they did it for Smart City too, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah. So the final phase will be Artisan Park and Roosevelt Corner, out of the 5 phases.
At the CDD's last meeting, they approved for them to start on Spring Lake because they didn't want to delay it another month.
All right?
And even though they don't have all of their rules and everything, the CDD rules together for them, they said we'll kind of get them to them, and then we'll make sure they get all of them up in North Village. But they wanted to ensure that the people in Spring Lake didn't have to wait any longer than what they've had to wait so far.
And so the second meeting was with the construction engineering people, and they showed the plans. So I looked at the complete map and the draw of everything, and their next deliverable to us then is the completion of the exterior distribution wiring. So that would give them to April 1st of 2017 to have it all completed. I didn't feel like that would be an issue at all. They're ready to move quickly. So it's key now to get communication out to the residents of when they'll be in your village, what they'll be doing, and how long it'll take to get it done.
What's the primary mode for communication of that?
We're going to go through the website and build a separate Comcast page, Comcast development page, so that we can put the map and some of the updates on there. And then we'll also utilize the front porch. We have the cell service app if there's any delays or any traffic problems that will be foreseen, and we can put them out through that. We are also going to have Jennifer, our customer account representative, that's dedicated to Celebration. We're going to give her own account on the forum so that she can interact directly with the residents as they have questions. So Comcast is moving along. It was a little bit of a slow start, but we are online now with the deliverables. The next item is the dog park. At the last meeting, the board approved the construction contract with McCree General Contracting, and the contract was worked on between our owner's rep, Danny Bumpus, and McCree, and they finalized the wording in it. It was sent to our attorney, reviewed, and everything looks good. So today I got the email that the contracts are being mailed. We should have those within the next day or two, and we'll get Vanessa to come and execute those contracts. And then the next step will be to meet on site with the contractor, with the county permitters, and with TCC and Reedy Creek to go over the pre-construction meeting and moving Davy to a new location. Davy's going to start slowly moving things off over the next few weeks. Some of it will be temporarily stored on the existing property that CROA has that Gerard was on, but they are actively pursuing an off-site location, which will free up that property for us to use for other master plan amenities. So they're looking at the next 60 days to have an off-site place isolated and located, but they will be by July 31st, slowly moving everything to where we can start breaking ground over the next month on the dog park.
Do you have a question, Linda?
What is the acreage that Davy moving off-site will free up for us then?
It's a little bit over 2 acres altogether.
Okay, cool.
So any other questions on the dog park? With the athletic fields at the end of the Civic Corridor, I have asked Hanson, Walter and Associates to take a look at the design for the athletic fields and add the biggest field, the third field there, add an addition of what that would look like if that was a synthetic turf field, what additional costs would be, what kind of space they would need for that, and how that would affect their overall design of that. So I just sent that email today to Mark to get an update on that. And then that way we can start looking at cost differential between some natural turf fields and some synthetic turf fields. And then we'll also be able to bring back to you what your cost recovery timeframe would be if you were to go with a synthetic turf field. It's not natural, but you do have a savings in watering. You have a savings in fertilizer, pesticide, herbicides, all the different chemicals they get to put on a regular field.
And it looks nice all the time.
And it looks beautiful, and you never have to close it.
You don't have to mow it either.
And you never have to mow it.
Right. It's always available to be open. In fact, you could have one of our typical Florida afternoon storms, which will shut down most fields for the rest of the evening. You'll be back on that field in 30 minutes if you were to go with the synthetic turf.
If I may add, Clint Searcy, who's on the rec committee, brought that forth in the recreation subcommittee. saying that they just done a return on investment for the high school property down there on the difference in cost, and 10 years, it looks very promising.
Yeah. Clint, he was going to share that with it. They, for those that don't know, they changed they're in the process of changing the high school field to artificial turf. So they don't ever have to worry about rotating or canceling games because it's all soggy. So.
Thank you for the transition into my next topic, which would be the Recreation Program Plan Task Force. We've met 3 times since the last meeting. It's been a lot of work up front, just really making sure we're identifying all the existing programs that we offer and looking at programs that we would consider offering, or maybe if there's a gap or a need for those programs. One of the ways that we've discussed really identifying what those needs are is through a needs assessment, a survey to the residents. David Anderson, who's here with us tonight, has volunteered he has some connections at the college level for people that have worked with the National Recreation Parks Association and have done a lot of needs assessments. So we have a great resource here to be able to help us with that. And we would like to get the feedback of the community from a programming standpoint of what they're looking for. The other big topic that we've been talking about over the last 2 meetings is the definition and designation of our different groups in town, whether they be civic and social groups, clubs, civic and service groups, and then just what we are programming, our CROA sponsored programming. So we're kind of hammering that out through a matrix and identifying that. And as we get all those different things identified and we get some guidelines or some rules in place of how we're going to utilize these new facilities, we'll really start narrowing down specific programs that maybe we aren't offering or maybe we could be offering better, and writing individual program plans for each one of those programs. And then we'll package it up into one nice, pretty program plan and bring it back to you. But we're a few months away from that, so we're working towards that. And at this time, I'd like to ask Todd Haskett to come up and discuss a little bit about the benches within Celebration, some of the benches in the parks. And he's put together a little report for you.
Good evening. We went through yesterday and today and counted up all the wood benches and chairs and partial wood, partial metal benches throughout the property, and we came up with 160.
That's a lot of benches.
That's a lot of benches. Yeah.
Now, Todd, is that just ours, or is it also Artisan Parks?
No, that's just CROA's.
And we're not talking about CDD benches either?
No, sir. No. Then we have, there's right around a total of 200 benches, including the metal ones that we have throughout the property.
Wow.
So, the wood ones, we went through and down at Artisan, I went through there personally and found a few of the benches that were needing cleaned. They didn't look good at all, and apologize for that. We will be aggressive to get those cleaned up and throughout the property. But I think what we're looking at, I did research over the years on teak, and majority of people like the weathered look, which is the grayish color of teak. And I guess the question would be, is that what we would look forward to, as a community, weathered, or do you want to maintain them as a stain sealed product, which typically every 6 months is what's required to get that result, to make them look fresh and pristine. The better, and here's a sample. This is a bench that was cleaned a few months ago. See it? It's down at Artisan, one of the Adirondack chairs. That's what the weathered look looks like when it's clean. So we can go through and stain them all, and it can be costly. But I think the goal would be to move more towards polymer, recycled plastic, which has come a long way over the years. Good colors, realistic looking material, and it lasts a long time with very little maintenance. I think that would be the goal that we should work forward to. I think what I would like to do, since it was just a couple of days to get this together, is come back with a comprehensive plan on what it would take, how many chairs versus benches and where they're located, and some suggestions on what it would take to cycle through those with the recycled materials.
Todd, can you quickly talk too about, we had the conversation yesterday that when you sand them down and you seal the teak, or the different types of wood, that the natural color of that wood comes out, and
Right.
sometimes those colors aren't always the same.
They do vary. We've got a few benches around there that are oak, bur oak, excuse me, right here in front of the town hall. And they had that nice golden rich color, but they just didn't weather, very well. There's a few benches without backs up at Lakeside that are oak as well, and they have that golden color like this. So as long as they're protected, they'll last, but they just can't be out in the open. Now with the teak, they would suggest not to pressure wash aggressively because it raises the grain. When you do that, then you'd have to sand it. And when you sand it, it doesn't take the sealer very well. But what we have been doing is just using a natural colored sealer, basically clear, and it doesn't. It says sealer, but it's a protectant. It doesn't create a glaze over the top of it. And what that does is brightens it up and brings out the natural colors in it, darkens it up basically, and you'll get variations in the appearance. Therefore, letting it go natural is a better look for it. But if you use polyurethanes or a shellac or something like that, over 6 months to a year, you'll get this blistered, sunburn-looking material out of it, and it just it's a pain to clean up and make it look nice, because teak naturally exudes these oils for about a 50-year period of time, and that's what's pushing it back off. It doesn't like that, so therefore we don't want to do that.
I guess just as a side note for myself, I guess one of my concerns about if we were looking at replacing them is teak lasts a long time. So I guess I would like to know the ROI as to, why would we not maintain that? Teak is a beautiful, when it's maintained properly, is a beautiful wood. Have we gone too far to where it hasn't been maintained, so now it looks really bad and we can't come back from it? So just kind of go through that at the next meeting if you could.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm not asking because I know you just went through this, but I guess that's my personal concern is we have 160 beautiful teak benches. Is the answer replacing them, or is it just we need to do a better job of maintaining what we have?
Absolutely.
So.
We'll put the numbers together so you can make a good judgment on that.
And I think too, at least, myself personally, I think, there's something to be said about where the benches are located in a lot of cases
Yes.
too, because, there's, not only from the environment that it might be, this is completely exposed to sun versus this one's in the shades, it's gonna get moldy or have algae on it. But the other part is that there may be some areas of the community where residents are more comfortable with a polymer wood bench because it's maybe not in the public eye as much, and it's more of I would call it a functional piece where
Sure.
you just want to sit down more than it's something really nice to look at that's part of the landscaping. So even, kind of identifying, a couple of those to play around with too, to see if we could put that in some spots. So.
And also on this, you gave us some sample pictures with prices. Can you contact some of these companies to see if there's a break point where there's a discounted
Sure.
amount?
Volume discount? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Leonard, you had a question too?
Yes, not knowing the different types of woods very well. Are the chairs over on in front of the Great Lawn on the stage there, are those teak also?
Those are oak.
Those are oak, okay.
Yeah, and you'll see the stain or the sealer coming off of it, the blistered look, and they were pressure washed this past week, and they still have this ugliness to them that has to be sanded down now to make them look
No, they
presentable.
need new urethane on them, definitely. And I did know, I know in the past, many of the benches I've seen in Celebration, I'm going back 18, 19 years now. Initially, I thought all of them pretty much had a urethane coating on it. And I don't know whether any of them were teak during that period. The CDD over years has taken out many benches up on Golf Park and places where they were before, so I
Right.
don't know the type of material. So I guess what I'm saying at the end of this is I'll look forward to hearing what you come back with and the reports as far as a synthetic type wood that would look the same, that we would phase in over a period of time, or depending on the return or investment,
Right.
go immediately with.
Very good. I'll
Any
have
other
that all
questions?
together.
Any other questions with regards to benches? Okay, thank you, Todd.
Thanks, Steve.
The next time, Susan's going to give a quick update on the roof replacement project on campus.
Yes, we just started June 10th. They mobilized the day after school started. They've completed one building, is that right, Teresa? Have they completed the first building? You want to come up here and talk? Okay. Yes. Anyway, they've started, the road is closed. I think we've worked through the school being opened and people accessing the school on the far side. I'm going to go back and talk about Mulberry for just a second because David, right, David, here, had some questions and I talked to Todd to clarify. In April, we approved the $10,000 to fix the flashing and counter flashing on the dormers and on the chimneys at Mulberry. And there were some leaks. And so Steve said, well, why are there leaks? If there weren't leaks before, why are there leaks now? And I think that's a valid question that I talked to Todd about today after I talked to David. And he said, what happens is the flashing that was there was a little bit loosened up from people just walking on the roofs while they're replacing the roofs. I mean, that's just part of what happens when you replace the roofs. But the big difference is that we have dimensional shingles now compared to the flat shingles. So they're a little bit thicker, and that thickness was just enough to make the water go up over that flashing and come through, which is why it required counter flashing. So I wanted to make sure that we understand that, because the perception has been that Performance Roofing perhaps didn't do a very good job when they did exactly what was in the specs. Did we have issues that we weren't expecting? Absolutely. Did they resolve them? Yes, they did. But when we discovered what the problem was, they gave us a proposal, you, the board, approved it, and they are working through it, and I believe they're finished with everything. If they're not finished last week, they'll be finished this week.
And Susan, have we had any reported problems after they've done that?
Yes.
Oh,
well,
sorry.
not but they fixed his roof the day that he called or the next day after you called.
Gotcha. Okay.
So-
No other issues then?
Not since. We haven't had rain, right?
Knock on wood.
No more big rain, so
They will be back though. It is Florida, so
We'll have an opportunity to test it again.
And
again.
I believe that we have effectively stopped any problems that we've had. So,
And as a result of the problems we've had there, we have been proactive in the campus street
with
ones.
campus, right. At the last board meeting, we also approved, at the May board meeting, we approved a $20,000 fix to make sure that the counter flashing was put on, so that wouldn't happen again. So absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have any other service areas with like construction that we're going to run into this problem with?
I don't know, but we have an engineer go up that, well, I think that South Village is the next one on the list, perhaps.
Yeah, we have similar situations with the dormers.
Sorry, Teresa.
she's shot.
I know. Sorry.
Teresa, our service area
Well,
manager.
it's not really built for short people, okay? I'm gonna get a box.
Stand up, Teresa.
So we do have similar issues that we've run into on campus in Mulberry, at least from the outer view. We do have dormers that we're concerned about, that we're taking into account. The other issue that we haven't run into on campus in Mulberry, that we are already making arrangements to have more discussions with one of our vendors, which is going to be the gutter replacement side that falls at the very tail end of those roof replacements, is the townhomes at South Village, which is our next roof replacement, and that bid process hopefully will begin very, very shortly. And the second area is also Green Lawn Townhomes. They have a gutter issue that is really does not appear in campus or Mulberry. And it's just the way they were designed, where there are shorter downspouts that dump to the lower level of the roof, which every roofer has said, please don't ever do that again. And so we're taking that into account to realign those. And there's also a situation where the gutters feed together for multiple units and then funnel into one downspout. In a normal rain, not a really big deal, but when we get a deluge coming through or at any time, it just can't handle it. So it does back up over the gutters themselves, or it pours down and it doesn't funnel nicely. It kind of splashes into a courtyard that is not service area maintained, and it has caused some issues with their personal landscape. So that's a new issue that we already know we're gonna be dealing with there, and we're already taking measures where Todd and I are gonna meet with the gutter installers to kind of almost redesign some of those problems away. So basically for the next, hopefully 15 years, we're in a good shape.
Any questions for Teresa regarding that?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Did you have another question, Leonard?
Actually, I actually had one for Todd for the next time, but it's not, you don't need to come up, Todd. Basically, could you provide us next time also with a report on the drive-around issues that we did initially?
I have that. I just added a couple things today, and I'll email that to you tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
I'll send it to the entire board.
Great, thank you. So you can take that off your list now, Todd.
I'll take that one. I'm mostly giving him stuff, so it's nice to take something back.
Any other questions?
That was it.
Okay.
Do we have any reports from Davey? How are we
That's-
doing?
Would you like to comment?
Okay, I'll comment on Davy. Davy is working diligently to resolve issues. Are they where we want them to be? No. Are we meeting with them regularly? Yes. I met with, we're meeting with them tomorrow morning. Again, we're meeting with them every single week, and Todd and Teresa are just, staying on top of them as far as progress goes. They've given us a schedule to replace sod. I believe that Teresa now has signed off on two proposals for 2 service areas. So the new regime has taken a little bit longer than we planned for them to get up and running. I'm going to say hopefully we're turning a corner and we're starting to see things happen. I spoke to the account manager yesterday, and he said that he believed that once we hit the 4th of July, because they've been working really hard to get things ready for downtown, that the rush will be over, and so he'll be able to take the time to spend on the service areas and some of the parks that have not been followed up the way that they would like.
And there has been a lot of solid replaced throughout the community. I drove through today and looked at a lot of the replacement. There's still more replacement scheduled. I know Reserve Park is one of those that still needs replacement, and a lot of it was irrigation issues. There were a lot of places that when they put the sun in, it just wasn't getting the water that it needed.
I've been out of, I have a quick question. I've been out of town, so I didn't get to see if what they ended up doing to fix the replacement, or to fix their fix over on Longmeadow.
They've been watering it a lot.
They have.
I go by there every day. And part of it is re-greened, but the part on the furthest away from campus side still has that area that still is pretty brown.
There are a couple blotches there.
So the
that
issue's not
should
resolved there yet?
recover.
Okay.
But I think Leonard's right. They have to put a lot of water on new sod right now for the roots to take.
Right.
And it's not raining right now. We
Right.
haven't had rain in a couple weeks, a good rain like we were earlier in the summer.
Okay.
So it requires a lot of water.
Yeah.
Todd made a comment today that the water bill is going to be a lot more expensive next month. But
No, it's not. We don't have meters for those parks. Where's Dave?
That's true.
That's true. It's a good thing. It's the good with the bad, right?
I think there's one more aspect to this, is they have been taking accountability for those things that have not been maintained. Teresa and Todd have been very diligent about saying, no, that's because of you, and we're not paying for it. And they have taken accountability for that. So on many of the things that, where they installed the grass and it didn't, or they let it just go to weeds,
Okay.
they are taking accountability for that.
And they've been very responsive to our sense of urgency to want to begin on that dog park and looking actively for a new location. The original plan was to just move to ship down, but once it was realized that there's no obligation for that they could move off-site, still provide the same level of service and free up land. They've really been working hard to try and make that happen.
Leonard, you had a question?
Two question and a comment, I guess. First is, it's been 60 days since Davy had their people in here, is that right?
Right.
So they're only 60 days into a fairly large repair. So I'm okay with another month or two if we're seeing things going well. Secondly, when they vacate up in the dog park up there, are we gonna have someone do a level 1 environmental?
We can, absolutely. We did a level 1 environmental on the dog park piece.
It's already been done?
Oh, I'm sorry. So you didn't mean the Gerard spot where there? No, it's already been done. They did a level 1 there. And
That included all of Davy's spot
Yes.
also at the same time? So
Yes.
they've already done a level 1
And
through
they've
there?
already cleaned what was found. at
That's,
that level
okay.
1.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't left with a cleanup.
Yeah, and I think we had to do an additional environmental study with our scope with Hanson Walter and Associates because they wanted they had to do an additional core where the parking lot, or where the parking areas were gonna go.
Now, driving by there the other day, I looked over and I saw different fertilizer bags probably and different gasoline things, and I thought, that could be a mess.
Yeah.
And I thought, we need to make sure that we're not left
Right.
with it. And
I would hope when they vacate, we double check and make sure that nothing has
Right.
happened and it's been
Yes,
cleaned up properly.
Just real quick, they were gonna, Davey was gonna donate the 8 crate myrtles. Are they still on property?
I can check with them.
Just can remind them, because those will just get moved if we don't. And they were good sized
Were they?
matching trees, so.
And they're not cheap either.
No.
You said 8 crate
It was
myrtles?
8 crate myrtles,
Okay.
yeah.
We can put them out here in our backyard.
And then my only other question with regards to Davy/landscaping is, what's the status on Spring Lake? Because that was the most recent issue we were trying to get resolved quickly.
Right. I think that ProScape took over at Spring Lake on June 1st, and we met with them today, and it seems to be moving in a positive direction. We're having more consistency between the mowing and the hedge trimming, and the weeds aren't as much of an issue. Davey had remulched, changed out that mulch for us. So right now, we are not where we need to be, but we are seeing much more consistency than we did when Davey was maintaining it.
And we have identified ways to make sure that we're up to where we need to be soon.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Any questions with
Do you
regards to?
agree, Teresa?
I would agree. I think that ProScape has been tackling some of our long-running issues and has also provided us with some very constructive feedback on the necessary steps we're going to need to take to make long-term solutions viable. One of the actually the biggest issues that we'll be discussing is resolving the difference in the developer's installed 4-inch irrigation heads, converting them to 6-inch, which quite honestly I had not budgeted to do in this calendar year. We've agreed to take it in a step-by-step process. Basically, where I know I need to replace sod, in those areas, if the heads are significant, they're factoring replacing those heads in that proposal. So some of this is going to happen piecemeal, and then some of that will factor into the 2017 budget. So we'll correct where we can, and then where we can't, we will have to roll it into next year.
Okay.
Are you going forward with David Weekly then to make sure they're not still putting the 4-inch heads in the rest of the areas?
They're going to put in the 4-inch heads. We've asked them after phase 1 if it was possible to go ahead and make that change. And similar as when we had notified David Weekly that in phase 1 and phase 2, we were making the change from the pine straw to the recycled hardwood mulch from the cocoa, and then listed the reasons. And David Weekly has decided to proceed with the pine straw in phase 3, which will factor to change out and is keeping the 4-inch heads.
Can I make a recommendation with regards to this? TCC has approved all of this. If we are required, per our charter, to take over this. That is really unacceptable. We ate a ton of money over at Spring Lake. We cannot do that again, especially moving up with the new development if they're going to be doing that. So I would recommend, I'd be more than happy to reach out to Paige, but that can't be. David Weekly saying no, especially knowing that we have this issue, That for us to have to budget that and for the residents to have to, because the service area, it comes out of the service area. It's the residents that purchase there that are going to have to ultimately pay for it.
Right.
That's,
If it's the means, it'll be CROA.
Yeah.
If it's the properties, the houses, it'll be the.
Yeah, but it hasn't reached the life of the normal
yeah.
lifetime.
wait, it hasn't reached
Hasn't
anything. It's
even
been a
been
year.
Yeah.
Well, and
ridiculous.
I guess, so I get the fact that they don't want to pay for a 6-inch head. It's a whopping difference of, I think, approximately 75 cents maybe
Yeah,
per
75
per
cents.
thing, which can add up when you're doing each one. My question would then be, so that we can maybe have a labor savings, I would be open to the idea of buying them all the darn heads that they need, and just saying, here's 6-inch heads that we're going to have to change anyway, when we take over this. Can you have your contractor put this in rather than anything? I mean, that's the thing that I don't understand.
Actually, I would rather just pay them the difference, have the service area pay them the difference
Sure.
of the 75 cents or $1, whatever the difference is between a 4-inch and a 6-inch head.
Well,
think-
And let them install
I
it.
guess my
I think I
first-
would rather go after
Let's see
TCC
if we can get
first and then use
TCC
that
to
as
do
a
it.
backup.
No, I think that's the correct order. Hit
I think that's the
TCC
correct
first.
order.
I think that's the response that we typically get is that was the approved plan, so that's why they're gonna move forward
Yeah,
with that
'cause
plan. I
there's-
think you're
Right.
right, being proactive.
There's no reason
with
for them to
any
draw a
new-
line in the sand like that and make that statement. That's not
Well, I
acceptable.
think
That's not neighborly.
I think in an effort of time, because we're not going to solve this. I guess personally, you're good, Teresa. Thank you. Personally, we will get together at the next management meeting on Wednesday, and we'll go through what our plan of action should be, and as far as first of all getting TCC to see if maybe they can have a conversation with David Weekley. And then second of all, maybe find out a way so that we don't have to budget that. If we pay an extra 75 cents per head to get that done,
I was
rather than
pulling
having to
that number
redo
out
it.
of thin air. I'm
Well,
sure it's much
no,
higher.
I have.
It's real close.
Yeah, I know, I think it is real
I'm sure
close.
it's pretty
It's
close.
no more than $2.
Yeah, so, I mean, in the long run, that would certainly save us a boatload of cash. So,
least in
just
labor.
on Wednesday, if we could do that.
And one other thing, we have requested to be more involved in the planning stage moving forward as we move into more developments in the future, so that if we're taking responsibility for something, we need to make sure that we have had some input.
Yeah,
So we
absolutely.
have made that request.
Okay. Thank you very much. Like I said, we'll continue this on Wednesday. Any further comment with regards to this, so we could move on? Okay.
That's the end of our management report.
Thank you very much. Now we move on to action items. Tab number 1. Approval to accept 2015 CCS Form 990 tax return as prepared by Cole and Associates with no balance due.
990.
Move to approve it.
Second?
So Jack move, Eric second. Any discussion?
My only discussion was, I've already talked to Susan about this,
And?
is this should be actually charged to the CCS account, not to CROA.
And we're making sure that happens.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Good
Well,
call.
it would be CJC, not
Right.
CROA.
Yeah,
Oh,
CJC,
okay.
yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
we still pay 75% of it versus
Right.
100%.
Absolutely.
Right, no, that's a good call. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 2, approval of changes to design guidelines for fence and wall setback distances. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve?
Second.
Leonard, motion, and Jack, second. Discussion?
I have a question on materials. Sorry. This is going back to a previous appeal that we had.
Okay.
In regards to brick and natural stacked stone.
Yes.
Yes.
I know what you're thinking.
Stacked stone is stacked stone, right?
Yeah, it's
not-
like the big, the stack stone columns that we have kind of on Celebration Boulevard. and-
Okay.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That
Unlike the appeal that we.
unlike-
Versus the veneer.
Versus
You're-
the veneer.
You're
correct?
thinking about the appeal that we had, yes.
Okay.
I think
So,
that, Eric,
yeah.
the biggest confusion with that appeal was it was the type of stone that they asked for.
Okay.
And they had that stone stacked in the veneer.
They put the right type of
They
stone,
They
there,
put
just
the
not in the
stone
right
in, they just
direction.
didn't stack it.
And so,
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That was my only question.
Any other questions or comments with regards to this? Do I call to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approval to purchase dog park
Thank you.
art. Yeah, thank you very much, Susanna. Approval to purchase dog park art in the amount of $2,704.60 with delivery.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Debbie motion and Jack second. Discussion?
Vanessa, just a quick comment. The funds that were raised for this were through Dog Park Calendar that Debbie led up last year, and then through the events committee, Dory, PJ, Eileen, and the committee on Bark for Art that they provided this year. So all this was additional funds that were raised. We had an original statue that was identified, and then I think they discontinued that statue. But Dory's identified another really cool statue that there's a picture in your packet there, so I think it'll be a great addition to the dog park.
It's the same one we had, wasn't it the same photo?
It's Great Dane.
Yeah, it's the same, it's the same one that we saw before, right? Yeah, okay. I love it, by the way. Any other comments? Call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Number 4, approval of the Osceola County construction permit fee in the amount of $5,753.11 for construction of the dog park, working capital reserve expense, tab 4. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Tim.
Tim, sorry, still
Tim.
still sleeping. Tim and Jack second. Any discussion?
This is a permit that's needed to proceed with construction.
Correct, yeah.
Any other comments?
One more comment. There is an additional permit fee of $260 per disc. Mark didn't believe that we needed any disc at this point in time. If we do, it's $260. So it's a one-time fee that would be very minimal.
Great, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 5, ratify the purchase of 2 48 port replacement switches from Newegg for $4,625.98, CJC operating expense, tab 5. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Eric motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Debbie. Discussion?
Our port switches last week completely died on us, left us without phone and internet. It started off with leaving us in the office without a couple phones, and then before you knew it, it was all phones, and our internet was down. Jack mentioned to check to see if it was lightning, because we had our air conditioner chiller went down around the same time. The chiller was down for at least 2 weeks prior to us doing the installation. It was being run off of really one coil that we were constantly cooling. So we did look to see if there's any damage through lightning. I talked to Patrick a little bit about it, and we don't feel like it's a lightning damage. It just was old and
Their PoE
died
switches
on
are
us.
just gonna crap out.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were 10 years old.
Yeah, you got your money.
They're on a UPS too, aren't they?
Got our money's worth.
We got 3 UPS locks back.
Yeah, so they didn't hit lightning.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Any further discussion with regards to
Switches.
the switches?
Yeah, we're good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, ratify the purchase of the chiller for the 851 building by Carrier at a cost of $68,485.
That one hurt.
CROA reserve expense, tab number 6. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Or ratify?
I'll second that.
Jack and Tim.
We basically already did this one.
Yeah,
did.
it's
We
done.
did.
It's
We
done.
did it over
This was
email,
both-
and you all signed it. It was unanimous decision. Just to kind of point this out, the reserve study had the chiller being due for replacement last year, and it made it a little bit over last year. So it just shows you how good the reserve study people are at being able to predict the life cycle of those type of items.
Any further discussion with regards to this?
I don't think we need to vote. We've already approved
Well,
it.
we have to ratify it.
Yeah, ratify the
So
vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 7, approval to rebuild the arbors at Green Square Park by Scott Walker and Associates in the amount of $5,500 CROA reserve expense, tab 7. Do I have a motion?
So
Crickets?
moved.
Thank you, Jack. Second?
I'll second
Leonard, second. Thank you. Discussion.
I have a dumb question. And I should have noticed this before. It's for, Todd, we're doing both of them there?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Because I see quantity 2. Okay. No, that's perfect then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've got a smart question.
Okay.
This will be out of wood evidently, like the last one was.
Yeah, out of cedar. There are a few changes that we're making. I'm not prone to putting, wood in the ground after it's been cut down as a tree. Just creates issues. So these will be on footers with the standoff Simpson ties. And then at the base, we'll use synthetic material so it is less prone to, well, it won't rot.
Well, I was going to ask about using synthetic for the whole arbor itself, but.
Yeah, I looked into it, and it's twice the cost of what cedar
Okay.
is.
And the estimated life on the new one will be?
Well, I guess we got, what, 15 years
Okay.
out of those?
I'm
so
happy. That's a good
similar-
ROI then.
Similar.
I'm fine.
I saw the footings that got put in when they dug the other one. I'm gonna hold on to those in a hurricane.
There you go.
They're not going anywhere.
Any other
Strap
que-
yourself to it.
Yeah.
Any other questions, stupid or not, or otherwise?
Did we replace, in the same area there, I know we replaced one of the arbors that was on, I think it's Flagstone? That's, whatever the one that's right after the Artisan Park there, that's
Right.
there.
Uh-huh.
Did we replace both of those, or did we only fix one of them?
Well, I understand there was just some repairs made to
It was
the
one, the post
posts.
that went into the ground, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The one on the right, as you're entering into that area, is just one post was replaced.
Gotcha, okay, all right, cool.
Any other comments, questions? All set?
Good.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion pass. Number 8, we
Thanks,
got approval to initiate the fining process for 11 non-compliance items through the notification of covenants committee meeting to confirm or reject the fine. Tab number 8. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
Tim motion, Jack second. Discussion.
I would only like to bring up that since this was printed, I think it was right after lunchtime, I heard back from the owner of number 7, who stated they were in a hospital in Ireland, and the house was actually going through a sailing process, and he was not able to take care of these things and, for a couple months because he's in the hospital. So that's up to you, or the covenants committee can use that information to review at their time.
If we hold off on it for a month, we don't put ourselves back or not?
I would prefer to let the covenants committee
Yeah,
decide.
they just let the government.
Yeah, all we're doing is
Thumbs down.
formality.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any further discussion with regards to these?
Actually, you still didn't answer my question, but
I'm sorry, what was the question?
It does, Leonard. It puts you back by a month if you were to let this one go, because you have to bring it back.
it just comes back, back to us next month if we say.
It'd probably be like a couple months, because I'd grant the owner, 30 days or so to take care of the items, and then it would go back on the next board list. So probably 2 months it would come
So,
back.
and if we go with the fine, then he's got 2 months before he could come back and appeal here anyway, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Still good?
I'm fine.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 9, approval to convert a $50,000 fine to a specific assessment, S9. Tab number 9. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Jack motion, do I have a second?
So I'll second that.
Tim second. Discussion. Questions, comments?
Oh,
Well, I already knows
All set?
this place is a real.
yeah, no, I just.
So you're good?
Yep.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay.
I'm familiar with it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 9. Number 10, approval to have CCMC send 7 service area intent to lien letters to owners delinquent as of April assessments. Tab number 10. Do I have a motion? Crickets?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Discussion.
Maybe a dumb question. With these, it's only an individual residence, so we wouldn't include an intent to lien or something with a condo complex, correct?
They would be quarterly assessments.
Yeah, it's conceivable
So
you
these
could
are
though.
monthly,
Gotcha,
with the
okay,
exception of Artisan, that's quarterly.
gotcha, okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 11, approval of 18 homeowner requests totaling $664.30. Tab number 11. Do you have a motion?
Vanessa, your motion may change a little bit this month just based on the way we're presenting the information to
Okay.
you.
Then is there a motion that somebody would like to make?
Yeah.
New on this list is the number of occurrences and number of requests for consideration of waiver and stuff like that. So it's, you need to look at each one individually, I believe.
I would like to also, not to hold up what we're going to do this evening, but have a discussion in a workshop about a firm policy on number of occurrences and things like that where there is no waiver. You understand what I'm saying? But that's not for right now.
And there was no change, so then do you want to just take this one at a time then? Or do you want to take it as groups? I just need whoever to motion whatever you would like, and I need a second.
Using numbers.
I'll move
Using numbers.
that we do them all.
Did we waive them all?
No, yeah, we waive them all. Because I've
So,
looked at it, they're all tiny, tiny little balances,
Second?
except for one guy.
Okay, did you want to pull that one person then?
They are numbered.
Correct, yeah, the top left-hand side above the name is the numbers.
You're talking about 13 to 18, I believe, right?
All but
Yeah.
seven?
You know, Tim, I'd like to address one thing. Number 7, for example.
I was gonna draw but seven.
I mean, you've got number of intense liens in 5 years, 9. Okay? Number of incidents of late in the last 5 years, 13. There's kind of a history of being late all the time. And I don't know whether waiving would be appropriate in this particular case.
Do you want to amend all but seven?
No, because I have trouble with that last one, 13 through 18, too.
I mean, I can understand,
That's also
and
personal.
personally, we've always forgiven the first time, okay? But a pattern or a history is difficult to forgive.
Tim, could you amend your motion maybe to pull 7 and 13 to 18?
Yeah, I'll
And
do
approve the
that.
rest?
I'll do that.
Can I
Yeah.
point out to 13 to 18, there's only been
only
one
13
incident.
days.
This is the first incident of that. It's just.
Yeah.
multiple
I understand, but he wanted to talk about that,
Oh,
so.
okay.
So,
Well, and I know, I mean, in this case, this particular owner has a whole lot of different properties there. It just bothers me that all of those properties are in that same condition. That tells me that there's not a very good discipline in making his payments.
all checks were in the same envelope.
so Vanessa, you have a motion by Tim, I'll second his motion.
Okay, so the motion is for items, for all the items except pulling number 7 and items number 13 to 18. And I have a second from Leonard.
Yes.
And I would ask to modify that.
Well, let's, okay, so we'll just have a discussion based on those.
I'd also like to add 11 and 12 as part of the polling.
All righty, hang on a minute.
Vanessa, can I get some clarification?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you are not waiving fees on items numbered.
No, we are not, our motion is to, okay, go ahead, it's to not, go ahead, finish your, sorry, go ahead.
I just, either you can tell me which ones you're approving and which ones you're not approving.
They're still discussing.
still
But
discussing.
the motion is to approve waiving all the late fees and interest except, and
7
we're talking about the,
and through 13 to 18.
right now, but
Correct.
that's gonna change, because they're
Yeah,
discussing maybe.
Yeah.
Jack, what's your issue on 11?
The number of occurrences and incidents of late in the last
Oh, yeah.
5 years. I mean, it's rather the same person.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
need to establish a payment.
11 and 12,
program.
the same thing, yeah.
Well, the same person. So,
Do we want to,
Oh,
do we
yeah.
want to modify the motion, or
Well, Tim has the motion, he can modify it first,
did you want to modify it or not?
just to pull
Tim?
those, get the rest
We'll
through.
pull those two,
Okay.
also 11 and 12.
So,
So,
Now it's 7, 11 through 18.
18, right.
To simplify it, it's number 7 and number
Actually,
11.
why don't we just, oh, yeah, that's
We
right.
could have done this 18 times by
We-
now.
I know.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So Rachel, the motion on the floor is to approve everything except for number 7, and then numbers 11 through 18.
Okay, that makes it easier.
Okay. Any more discussion with regards to this?
I'll second the amended motion if we need that.
I think.
We do.
Thank God. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Leonard already, it's already, so we already have that. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's go ahead and take, do I have a motion for items 11 and 12?
7? Oh, I'm sorry. 11.
Oh, I'm sorry, we can start with
Yeah.
7, that's fine, we'll start there. So motion, do I have a motion for number 7?
Well,
I think we just
What
agreed
is-
to,
Well,
You
I
don't
think,
have to vote
do
if
you
you're
want to
not
put them
voting.
all together?
I don't know, are you, or would,
well, we just basically did that. We said we approved the passage for those already. The other ones are.
So we waive everything but those, so those fees are not
and
waived.
everybody's good with doing that? Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you're,
yeah.
so for the rest of them then, so item number 7, 11 through 18,
We'll pay their fees.
and do I, who's the motion for that?
That was
We don't
Tim.
need one, really.
Tim and
We were-
Liz.
Well,
No?
You excluded them from the.
But we
passage.
did,
you still have to, you still have to go
we still have to
through.
motion
All right,
it.
I move to continue the fine, the payments for 7,
To
11
deny,
through.
to deny the request.
Yes, deny the request.
Okay,
No,
so
and
Jack's,
I'll second that.
and then, so we're denying the request.
For 7 and 11 through 18.
So real quick, just to clarify, so Rachel, they pulled those items, and so they were not approved in the original request, so now they're taking those items separately and just voting on them separately.
And we're voting
To say it
to
backwards.
deny it.
We approved 1 to 8 and 10 and 12.
Right.
Who did the motion?
The second one is Jack,
No.
It
oh,
was Jack,
Yeah, Jack was the
Jack
second.
and Tim.
Jack
Yeah.
and Tim. Jack was first. Oh, that was the second set.
Okay, all clear.
Good.
Clear as mud?
Can you repeat that back?
Okay.
The 13 to 18, if there were different names on each one of those, would we have had the same concern?
Probably would have let it go.
No, I would have let it go.
Yeah. So our concern is just that it's because there's multiple
Because
properties
there's
there?
consistency. Yeah.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
I just want to point out that the owner comment is on there. I don't know if you had a chance to see that.
That's-
Yeah, I view 13, 18 slightly different because this is his first set, even though it's not, even though it is on multiple properties.
Well, there's no outstanding balance.
He did pay up the outstanding balance once he realized that it didn't go through.
It looks like someone that had something slip through the cracks, and indeed it was 6 properties slipping through that crack. But it was the first time, he's never done it before. So I will have a hard time voting for all of them.
All right, so let me modify it then.
Okay.
My motion is to continue the payments for 7 and 11 then, and 12.
7, 11, and 12.
Wait,
Okay.
wait. So, wait just a second, just to clarify this. So items number 13 to 18, you're okay with waiving the fee?
So do
So
we
why
modify
don't
the
you
first
do that one then? So why don't we do, so Jack, do I have a motion to waive the fees for items number 13 to 18?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay.
Or second. There, yeah. Go.
Jack and Eric is the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So then item number 7, item 11, and number 12.
I'll make the motion for item 7 that we continue, is this a homeowner request? That we deny the homeowner request for number 7?
Okay?
I second that.
So for number 7,
Just 7. I'm trying to do this individually. I think that'd be easier.
Eric is motion and Leonard is seconding to deny the homeowner requests. So they must pay that fee. Do I have a motion for item number 11 and
let's
12?
vote on
Oh,
that.
I'm
Gotta vote on that
sorry,
first.
sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now, do I have a motion to, for number 11 and number 12?
Jack, go ahead.
Motion to fine.
Motion to fine number 11 and number 12, and do I have a second?
I'll second.
Just to
Second,
clarify
Actually-
the motion, it's a late fee and interest.
Motion late.
Yes.
Yes,
Interest,
not to waive.
sorry.
Jack and Tim?
Yes.
Okay, then I remember.
Okay.
And these are 7 times in the last 5 years they've missed that, right?
Yep.
And so for number 12, it says that the property owner still has an outstanding trash balance. So even though they state that their accounts are straightened out,
It's not.
they're not, right? Because we still have that outstanding, okay. Yep.
Okay, so, any further discussion with regards to 11 and 12?
Nope.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll work with you on that.
And we thought we simplified it with the more information, I think.
We
Yeah,
actually
that's
did.
No, it's a great
No, actually,
format.
It's a
No,
good tool.
The format's great.
Yeah, and having the numbers is
It
certainly.
definitely
much
gives you
easier.
more information to make your decision.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So we're done with number 11, dear Lord. Okay, revised. Approval, number 12, approval of one legal request as advised by attorney, tab number 12. Do I have a motion?
I move to go with the attorney's proposed of $273 a month for 12 months.
So Jack motion, do I have a second?
Second?
Second from Eric. Discussion.
Actually, I do. You can find the new piece here.
Oh, here you go.
Is that, okay. Well, no, this was sent out
It was just
just
given out.
late today. And this goes not necessarily to this, I am going to approve this, but it appears we're going to pay our attorney $540 something dollars, yeah, $540, basically to take the checks in over the next 12 months for that. Time period.
That's part of the attorney's requirement to monitor this program.
Well, I understand that, but we've already paid again, we're not paying it, but it's 562 above there. And this goes back to, I'd like to have a workshop on legal fees coming up. And that's my only comment. I'm gonna go ahead and vote for it. So, if it's not been motioned, I will motion for it.
And I've got a comment too. Is this owner required to continue to make their payments, or this is accelerated?
We've accelerated 2016, and then the payment, the assessments next year will come due on a quarterly basis. And part of it is to stay current with their
That's what I mean,
assessments.
yeah.
And the owner
Right.
asked for $100 a month plan, and your motion on the floor is to approve the
$273.
attorney's recommendation of $273.65
Okay.
per month.
Okay.
And Leonard, to you, that 562 was legal fees and sending out letters through this point.
No,
in
I
time.
understand what it is.
Yeah,
The other
he actually
540
does
is
quite a bit of work to
actually
get
a
that money.
monitoring
I
plan now.
understand.
Yeah.
And I'm voting for the motion.
No.
But my point again, which I've made with Susan, is I'd like to explore our total legal fee system that we have.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
And
Susan?
I also was gonna add, I think collections is on the workshop agenda for next month.
Can add this
So,
on there.
Yeah, next month.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approval, number 13, approval of 10 attorney-instructed write-offs totaling $31,943.55, tab number 13. Do I have a motion?
A motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion?
I just have the same discussion on that. The total legal fees we paid, like on number, yes,
Yeah.
on the new pages.
Yeah.
1 and 6.
Yeah.
The total legal fees we paid on one of these properties, let me find it here.
It's the very top one.
Yeah, Warner.
Number, well,
One
there's a
and
couple
six
of, number
both.
one,
Six,
number
right.
1, 6, and actually number 4 is
We
still.
had $1,225 worth of assessments, we wound up paying $3,700 of legal fees.
Yeah.
And of course, we're writing them off now.
Right,
And I think we need to revisit that.
I agree.
I'm going to approve this again, but
Yeah.
thanks for feeding
Um,
these things.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 14, Request to approve opening a mediation file with attorney regarding short-term renting of residential unit. Tab number 14. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I move.
Jack motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Leonard second. Discussion?
So dumb question day. Why are we going into mediation on this when it's a violation that goes back to 2014?
Well, there has been past violations, there has been fining. Actually, one of the properties tonight on that list was this. Legally, Florida statute says before you pursue litigation, you have to go through, you have to send an offer of mediation, so
Gotcha. Okay.
that's kind of
I
what we
think for
have
this
to do.
property, the finding's not, just simply not working.
No.
I guess
Yeah.
they're thinking that what they're making off of short-term rental offsets the fine that they have to pay.
Sure.
So we have to try and see if there's any other little bit stronger route that can be taken. And again, like Susanna said, at this state statute, so through mediation, then you could go to arbitration and then
So it's the first step in the process.
Judgment.
and then a judgment.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, part of, again, I want to discuss this in the workshop, but part of my problem is we've been in mediation since 2012, evidently, with Georgetown and another condo complex. Eventually, you need to jump forward into the arbitration. I don't want to get into mediation holes because we pay our mediation side, they pay their side. And it's something that can just drain on forever.
Yeah,
They
and
may say, oh, mediation's cheaper than than everything else that's going on. We'll just keep paying our mediator and drag it out for 5 years.
I think when it comes to this violation, the board's been pretty strong on their stand. There's not really a lot of negotiation involved there. It's short-term rentals, and
Yeah,
that's
I
not
don't think,
something that's
I
working.
don't
this
think
is
there's
a
ever
cut
been
and dry
anybody on the
thing,
board
yeah.
No,
that's
This is
ever.
a big no-no.
I agree with you though, Leonard. It shouldn't be a all-day mediation. I think with the larger complexes, you work throughout the process to try and come to a 50-50 somewhere where you can
But 4
still be
years,
neighborly and get
4
I
years
agree,
into a
but
condo
Yeah,
project.
I know what you're saying. I think a lot of times when it comes to the condo projects, the challenge has become is that you're also dealing with their board of directors.
Right.
So it's not just a homeowner that you can do a one-on, they're trying to get things approved through their board, they're trying to get budgeting approved, then also the properties are bigger. I mean, these are just the feedback that I've gotten
No.
in discussing it with their managers, is the challenges that they have, trying to get the vendors to do such a large property, trying to get things passed through the board.
I understand
Stuff
what
like
you're
that.
saying. Again, like I said, I want to
Right.
put this in a workshop and
Yep,
have it as a discussion.
Perfect.
certainly.
So we have a motion and a second already.
Yep. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? H, strategic planning goal update. Goal number 1, build mutually beneficial strategic partnerships with county, civic, community, schools, and districts. Jack and myself. I will let you know a couple of updates with regards to the contract for the school. The school district did just sign, along with TCC, to build the new school over in Island Village. The contract did go through. It was signed, I believe, last week. I was out of town, so I was unable to attend. The contract is posted online and under the school district website, so you can pull up the contract there. Basically, it says that they're going to be building a new school over in Island Village for K-5, and what'll end up happening is all of Celebration will return to the K-8 from grades 6 to 8. So that will be the middle school, but it will also still be a 1 through 5 for K-5 for the majority of the rest of this, the current area.
Existing footprint.
Footprint, thank you. And then the boulevard basically will be zoned according to the new K-5. At the meeting that I was at, all the school board did say that they have no desire to remove kids from a school where they're currently attending. So if they're at this if they're currently at the K-8, they will do their best to keep them at the K-8 without having them move to a new one, even if they're zoned there. Their goal is not to remove kids from the school. I think we'll know more as to their level of commitment once we actually know how things build up. So, but I think it's very fair to say that we have a new school over in Island Village, and we have our school here rather than having the huge expansion that they were originally planning, which I think was the community's #1 concern. The other thing is the CCDD meeting. I was in attendance along with Leonard and Jack and a couple other people were there too.
Not the last one.
Paul was there too, yeah. The last CDD meeting?
No, the last one was just a week ago.
Oh,
We
the
were
one
the
before
workshop.
then.
We were the workshop.
The regular meeting is, but either way, it was a regular meeting that I was at.
It was
No?
a workshop.
Okay, it was a workshop I was at, so we were at the
You
workshop.
went to a CDD function.
I went to a function, and at that, they were talking about the roads. And one thing that came up was I think there was a misunderstanding with regards to some different, some different things that were submitted with regards to closing down the roofing project, closing down Campus Street for the roofing project. I have asked Steve to get a meeting together with Gary Moyer and Brian Smith and myself, just to find out if there's a better way that we can all communicate, so that there's, just to minimize the finger pointing. Well, they didn't tell us that this was this and that, so we're gonna, I'm meeting with them first week, next week after. And it's gonna be very simple. How can we streamline communications? We have the avenues on our end, through CROA, through our website and everything. How can we just help it out, facilitate it, and have a more of a more symbiotic relationship? And then also discuss, maybe there's some ways that we can do some cost saving through some different, landscaping, things like that. So just to kind of do some brainstorming and some different options. And then obviously anything that comes from the meeting will definitely go through the board. No decisions were made at all. It's strictly just a dialogue, opening up some dialogue.
And so was that date finalized? I know
Yes,
that there
it
was some
was.
back and
Yeah, it
forth.
was. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. It's in July. It's when you were on vacation. I think it's like
Okay.
July 7th.
Okay.
I think it's a
That's what I
Wednesday.
thought it was
Yeah,
that
you were on
week. Okay.
vacation. And I will work with the one comment with regards to the hotel getting the bed tax. So I will pursue that with the county, and then I'll also pursue now the working with TCC with regards to
6-inch
Spring Lake
heads.
and, yeah, 6-inch heads. Yeah. Jack, is
And
there
mulch.
anything else with
And
regards to
mulch.
that one? And, anything else with regards to that? Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Number 2, approval to change, oh, good gosh. Goal number 2, improve communication. I'm still sleep deprived. Goal number 2, improve communication tool and methods to better educate and involve members of the community. Eric and myself. Eric?
If you haven't stopped by Town Hall, stop by and come see digital signage displays that are in the lobby here. I know that staff is working on maybe getting some possible ideas for making sure that we can roll this out to other areas of the community as well. Obviously, there's a lot of things that go into that, so it's going to take some time and some planning against that. But I think overall, one of the pieces of feedback that I'll say is I get a lot less questions on what's going on and more questions about what's going on. So in other words, people actually know what's happening now, but they just want more information about actually what's happening in a lot of cases. So that kind of worked. So we're getting there, but I think that there's a lot of things that we're doing with technology. I know that management did a really good job of getting ahead of the helicopter question that always comes up in the summertime with when the sheriff comes and lands. If you didn't know there was a helicopter arriving here and you were really concerned about a helicopter arriving, you probably missed something, and we can sign you up for something else. So things are going in a good direction.
Eric, one more addition to that. The CCMC corporate communication director was in town last month and worked on a communication plan. She's finalizing that, and we should have that shortly. I'll check with JR tomorrow to see if we can get an update of when that will be in. But once we get that, we can bring that back to the board for approval.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments with regards to that? Number 3, develop and implement a recreation program plan. Paul Collins and Debbie Paul is on vacation.
They're-
Did you have any update on that?
They're
Or do you
moving
want-
along and meeting with that and developing matrices and doing a lot of work. They're doing a good job with that. So.
Steve covered a lot of it in his management plan. It's great. So thank you to all those that have attended the meetings. Goal number 4, further improve member services to enhance lifestyle offerings and quality of life benefits for all ages. Jack and Tim?
Once again, Steve covers a lot of that in his management report, and JR continues to update the new member packages and stuff.
Well, and the recreational task force is, I think,
Yeah.
really addressing this well,
We're
too.
doing that, too.
So, yeah.
We're also sending a monthly email to any new homeowners, just welcoming them, kind of reminding them of some of the events that are taking place, and then giving them a link back to the new homeowner packet in case they didn't get a chance to come into town hall. But one of the things that I really enjoy doing is anytime we get a new resident moved into town, and myself or Susan are here, we go out and we meet them, and we say hi, and we shake their hand. We ask them, about why they're moving to Celebration, and it's always great to meet people and talk to them a little bit about their stories. We give them our business card. We tell them if you ever have any questions, feel free to call us. And if the two of us are in a meeting or we're not here, one of the department heads will go out and talk to them. So they're meeting somebody and they're talking to one of the leadership team in town.
So you're recruiting for your baseball team, right?
That's right. I did. I had a kid that he was 11 out here, but he's a baseball player.
There you go.
Get you out there.
Leonard, go
I
ahead.
met a new person moving in on either Saturday or Sunday, and I asked them, I said, get back with me and tell me how they treat you when you come over to town hall, and how you do it. And I actually ran into, they actually came in for the initial thing on Monday, and then they came back on Tuesday to get their sticker and their pool cards and that kind of thing, their ID cards. And I spoke with them afterwards, and I go, well, how were you treated Monday when you got here? And they said, well, Steve Waring came out and introduced himself,
Wow,
and they were impressed. And I said, I said, give me a 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, whatever you think it is. And they go, definitely a 5. and I said, that is a 1. I said, that is a 1 to 5, yes. And he said, yes.
It was a bad
So they were very happy with the way they were treated, and thank you.
Yeah, and it was not just me, too. I want to make sure the department heads, they're out there, and we drop what we're doing when someone comes in and they're a new resident.
Well, I happened to run into them, and Levette was still helping them out at the window the second day, either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think I was here every day this week.
Right. And
I think the word too. I know.
We have our comment cards in the hall, in the lobby there, and we had 33 that were turned in this past month, and all of them were just great comments on the front desk staff. So I think that first impression, that front line of staff there, they're really doing a great job of greeting and giving them a good experience.
I agree with that, and you should let them know that don't say it was that I've done it, but once in a while I'm over here early for meetings, like I am way too often, is I kind of hang out over in that area and do some work, but I'm watching what's going on there, and their demeanor, their customer service is very good from what I've seen.
Thank you. I'll pass that on.
Ensure community standards are met. Tim and Leonard?
I continue, and I want to take my hat off to the covenants and to the ARC committees. They're wonderful. They do a lot of what they do. Very effective, but I will say that I do believe that the covenants inspectors are understaffed, especially with what I see right now with the age of the community and what I know, because I spent a whole summer in Green Up Cleanup, and I know what those ladies do with regard to the inspection. So I believe it's understaffed. The other thing is during the weekends, I see a lot of commercial vehicles being parked over the weekends. I don't expect covenants inspectors to be out working 7 days a week. I think we could use our pool and park monitors to kind of eye those kinds of folks, take some pictures, get them to the get them to the covenants people, and so that they can follow up after they get back on Monday. But overall, I think that everything's going well. The new letters look nice, and I think it's going well.
I attended this last month, both the ARC and the Covenants Committee meetings, and the Covenants Committee was 40-something minutes long. It was 44 minutes or something like that.
That's short.
I told them we would double their salary because they did it so quickly. So you're still earning zero, but it was a thought. But I told them I appreciated everything they do. Every time I go to one of their meetings, I listen. They do very well through the way they interact with homeowners and such. I cannot say more, cannot lavish any more praise than they just do a great job.
Great. Thank you. Any further board comments?
I do have one additional item to bring up. We want to look at setting some dates for a couple different meetings. First one, if you guys all have your calendar, we need to set a date for the next appeal meeting.
I thought we had one for July 7th.
What you thinking?
Well,
Appeals meeting.
we didn't get a.
I thought there was 4 people that sent back in for that.
No, I didn't get one.
Oh, I thought there was
Jack,
4.
did you say Jack?
What was the date that you were looking, July?
What's the
I
date you're
said the
thinking about,
7th, but
Suzanne?
I'm going to withdraw the 7th now. Seeing as how nobody else could give up the 7th.
No, I think we had 4 that sent in for the 7th. That's what
I thought it was 2. I thought it was me,
I did.
you, Eric, you were able to call in, right?
I can call.
Tim, were you on for the 7th
Of July?
of
Yeah.
July?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I didn't count the call-in. I thought you were kind of on the fence with that,
No, he was able to call in if we needed it.
But I thought it was Jack, Vanessa, Tim, and
I
myself.
did say, and I could try. If we get an event that day, a family event, but I'll try.
Well, if we need to set
Well,
something else, I mean,
If you, if I still have Eric calling in and then Tim, Vanessa, and Leonard, then I guess if you make it, it's okay, but if you don't, I still have 4.
Okay.
Okay,
So that'd be 5 o'clock?
that would be 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock on the 7th? That's, by the way, Steve, that is the day I have my meeting with with CDD.
I know you've had trouble doing this. Do we need to look to the next month also and possibly?
I don't have the schedule for the next month, but, yeah, we can do that and see if we can pinpoint a regular occurring, week
Is
of the
it
month.
possible? I mean, I don't know if I feel like before we were able to do it just before our board meetings, and that worked out well. And I don't know why we are not doing that anymore.
I guess it was a year ago, we were doing it at 5 o'clock or 5:30,
Yeah.
and it was so hard to crunch so many into just an hour. We were rushing through them, so I think that's why we
Nothing
ended
wrong
up
with
doing.
Well, how many?
We can try that again if you want.
I feel like we're struggling, and you're going to end up having it even. There's going to be, when we actually get together, it's going to be almost a marathon, and I would like to minimize marathons if possible.
I can try to schedule the next month at
Or,
like 5
or even
o'clock.
during the 5 o'clock, or even during the workshop days.
Okay,
Because then those are days that we already have blocked off on our calendars, and then maybe that'll help to minimize your extra efforts in emailing to try and find a date.
That'd be great.
So if you could try, maybe work that out, that might be a lot easier
Okay,
on
sounds
everybody.
good.
Workshops start at 5.
Yeah, well, we'll do
30?
the appeal first and then the workshop.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah, we just move the workshop up an hour and just.
See what will work for the residents too, because I know
Yeah,
sometimes that's hard,
is
that's hard to get in that early.
doing after work
Yeah,
is
we have
when
to,
they like
yes,
to
I think
come.
maybe even after our workshop, maybe we can do it like 6 o'clock or something like that, after our workshop.
That gets us out on time for the workshop ending.
It does, I'm all about that. Speaking
Okay,
of,
we'll
it's
try that.
8:03.
Sounds
One
good.
more date, please, while you have your calendars
Okay.
open. We'd like to, for the budget workshops this year, we'd like to start at the end of July or the first week of August, if possible, to really kind of just go over the format, get some feedback from you, some consensus feedback on the
July
direction.
21st.
The direction that we'll be moving.
Listen to you.
I'm out of town.
29th.
No.
That's
21st is an appeals meeting.
No, that's not
29th is-
anymore.
Oh, sorry, I still have that one on there.
And I don't
I think
imagine
it's
it'd be
28th.
more than an hour and a half for this meeting.
Can we do it before the board meeting on the 27th?
We could.
That would
5
work,
o'clock?
that would work well for me, if I don't know if it'll work for, for anybody else. July 27th?
5 o'clock.
Maybe 5
Can we do
o'clock.
5?
Yep.
5 o'clock on the 27th? Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, oh, yeah, I'm good.
perfect.
What are we doing with dates?
Yeah, the other thing with the budget is that we'll have this initial meeting, and then we'll come back, based on feedback that we receive in late September, to present the budget, and then hopefully have the budget on the CROA board meeting agenda at the end of October. That's the timeline for the budget season this year.
Any other board comments?
The only other comment that I have is I know that we've been focused on a lot of the larger projects as part of the master strategic plan, as well as improving a lot of the recreational items. But I know that there are some minor things that are on that as well that we had looked at doing. Like, for instance, I know we're still waiting on the additional play item or amenity that was located in North Village, where we pulled up the turf there, about getting a picnic table or something in that area. I know that we had looked at some other strategic areas about putting a picnic table or that sort of thing. So maybe it's, you know, maybe we look at putting a polywood bench there to see how it does, you know, sort of thing. And especially some of those other locations where we had looked at adding a supplemental, you know, item of some kind.
We put a picnic table there, in that area?
Someone stole
Just
it.
there, it's, what, is it a picnic table, or is it?
There's one on at the other park.
On the other, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and we can look at it in a.
Someone stole it then. We should get, it's a heavy bench or a heavy table.
Any other board comment? Do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're not off camera yet.
No, I was gonna say Patrick's.
Yeah, turn it off.
Yeah.
An hour and a half.
Now we're off camera. You're 35 minutes long, you buy.
We'll get her down to an hour.
I can tell you, it's not for lack of trying.
I had the greatest hopes that we'd be able to